Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone. You are the one everyone depends on. You are the reliable one, the capable one, the one who answers emails at midnight, remembers birthdays, fixes crises before they explode, and somehow always keeps it together. And yet, inside, your mind is on fire. Here's the paradox no one talks about. You are succeeding publicly while unraveling privately. You are winning the war on the outside, promotions, praise, productivity. But inside, you are losing the quiet battle no one sees. You don't look anxious. You look accomplished. You don't sound overwhelmed. You sound prepared. But your body knows the truth. The racing thoughts at 2 a.m., the constant rehearsal of conversations that haven't happened, the fear that if you slow down even for a second, everything will collapse. And the most painful part, people admire the very coping mechanisms that are exhausting you. They call it ambition. They call it drive. They call it excellence. But what if it's anxiety in a tailored suit? What if the gold star is just camouflage? If you've ever thought, why can't I relax? Even when everything is fine. If you've ever been praised for your strength while secretly wishing someone would notice how tired you are, this is for you. We often think emotional intelligence means being calm, composed, and self-aware. It means regulating emotions, leading with empathy, responding instead of reacting. But here's what we don't say out loud. Sometimes emotional intelligence becomes emotional performance. You learn to read every room. You anticipate everyone's needs. You manage not only your emotions, but everyone else's too. And vulnerability, you understand it intellectually. You believe in it. You may even teach it, but you rarely practice it where it matters most. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that your value lives in your usefulness. And usefulness leaves very little room for weakness. High-functioning anxiety thrives in emotionally intelligent people. It hides behind competence. It disguises itself as responsibility. It convinces you that hyper-awareness is safety. You are not chaotic. You are not spiraling. You are organized, polished, admired. And that makes it harder to admit something is wrong. Because how do you confess you're drowning when you're the one holding everyone else up? You have felt this, the constant scanning. You walk into a room and immediately measure the emotional temperature. Who's upset? Who's distant? Who needs reassurance? Who might disapprove? You call it being observant, but it feels more like surveillance. Your brain is a risk management department that never clocks out. You replay text messages before sending them. You reread emails 5 times. You imagine worst case scenarios, not because you're dramatic, but because you believe preparation prevents disaster. High functioning anxiety whispers a seductive lie. If you can control everything, nothing can hurt you. So you plan, you over-prepare, you outperform. You say yes when you're overwhelmed because saying no feels like dropping the ball, and control becomes your armor. But here's the truth no one tells you about armor. It's heavy. And the longer you wear it, the more you forget what it feels like to breathe without it. You don't rest. You optimize rest. You don't relax. You schedule relaxation. You don't enjoy success. You brace for the next demand. Your nervous system doesn't recognize safe. It only recognizes prepared, and preparation feels productive. It feels responsible. It feels admirable. But beneath it is fear. Fear of disappointing someone. Fear of being exposed as not enough. Fear that if you stop achieving, you will stop mattering. So you stay in motion because motion feels like safety. But what if the exhaustion you feel isn't weakness? What if it's the cost of never letting yourself be human? You are the strong one. The one who says, I've got it. The one who handles the logistics, the crisis, the emotional fallout. People lean on you, and you let them, because being leaned on feels like proof you are needed. But strength, when it's constant, becomes isolation. You don't cry easily, not because you don't feel deeply, but because you've trained yourself to compartmentalize. You postpone your breakdowns. I'll deal with this later, after this deadline, after this trip, after this season. But later keeps moving. High functioning anxiety is not panic in the corner. It is perfection at the podium. It is the applause that drowns out your inner critic temporarily. Because once the room is quiet, the critic gets louder. You should have done better. You forgot that one detail. They're going to realize you're not as capable as they think. Imposter syndrome feeds it. Perfectionism fuels it. And shame quietly powers it. Shame says, if they really knew how anxious you are, they wouldn't trust you. So you curate competence. You show up polished. You stay 2 steps ahead. You rarely let people see you unsure. But here's the irony. The very vulnerability that would create connection feels like the greatest risk. You tell yourself, if I fall apart, who will hold everything together? So you don't fall apart. You fragment privately. You smile in public, and you call it resilience. But resilience without vulnerability becomes survival. And survival is not the same thing as peace. You carry the war inside your skull. No one can see it. Not really. Not the jitter in your fingers, the restless leg under the conference table, the racing pulse that no promotion or praise can quiet. You replay moments from years ago. You imagine future conversations. You anticipate judgment in ways that nobody else does. It's exhausting. Imagine your mind as a battlefield where every thought is both soldier and saboteur. Every victory outside, landing that project, solving that problem, helping a friend is met with an internal critique, not fast enough, not perfect, not enough. You are winning externally but losing internally. The paradox of high functioning anxiety is that you can be seen as a champion while feeling like a casualty. And here's the cruel twist. The more you achieve, the more anxious you become, because success raises the stakes and your mind's default setting is hypervigilance. The very strategies that allow you to excel, planning, overthinking, preparing, are also the chains that prevent rest. It's a war where you are both general and prisoner. You've learned to hide behind perfection. It starts small, double checking an email, reviewing a report twice, rehearsing what you'll say. And then it grows into everything, your appearance, your relationships, your every action. Perfectionism whispers sweetly, yet cruelly. If you do it perfectly, you'll be safe. If you do it perfectly, you'll be loved. If you do it perfectly, you'll matter. And you obey. You adhere to this invisible law, policing yourself with ruthless discipline, praising yourself when you succeed, and punishing yourself when you fall short. But perfectionism is a thief. It steals spontaneity. It steals joy. It steals the knowledge that being human is enough. You've learned to perform strength so convincingly that others can't imagine the anxiety underneath. And sometimes you even convince yourself. But deep down, you know the truth. This is not peace. This is not freedom. This is not thriving. You are surviving expertly. Ask yourself, how long can you stay ready for the next crisis, the next demand, the next expectation? Your mind never rests. Your body bears the cost. Muscle tension, headaches, insomnia, they are the unpaid tolls. You are chemically, physically, emotionally taxed. And yet you keep performing. You sacrificed your quiet, your inner space, your stillness, all in the name of control, safety, and reliability. High functioning anxiety rewards you with success, recognition, and admiration. It punishes you with exhaustion, self-doubt, and isolation. And this is why the war feels unwinnable. Because on the battlefield of your mind, there is no audience applauding the internal struggle. No one hands you a medal for surviving your own thoughts. And that is the cruelest paradox of all. You are brilliant, capable, and admired, and yet deeply, achingly alone in your fight. You have been moving at full speed for so long that the idea of stopping is almost dangerous, like stepping off a cliff while everyone else watches. Your mind has been conditioned to believe that stillness equals vulnerability, that silence equals failure, and that rest equals losing control. But what if the opposite were true? What if pausing was the most courageous act you could take? Imagine your mind as a river, a relentless, churning river that never sleeps. High functioning anxiety keeps that current raging, convincing you that if you slow down, everything around you will flood. Tasks, responsibilities, relationships, expectations. And so you keep rowing endlessly, believing that forward motion is safety, believing that productivity is protection. But rivers also need banks. Rivers need calm pools where the water can settle, reflect, and nourish life around it. Without pause, and the current erodes everything it touches: your health, your creativity, your relationships, and your sense of self. Every sleepless night, every moment of overthinking, every skipped meal chips away at the foundation of who you are. You have felt the fear that accompanies even a small pause, the panic that tasks will pile up, the worry that someone will notice, the silent voice that whispers, if you stop, you're not enough. That voice is relentless. It knows exactly how to make stillness feel like risk. And yet, what you've never realized is that pause is not surrender. Pause is not failure. Pause is a declaration that you are human, that your worth is not measured solely by motion, output, or the perception of others. Every time you allow yourself to breathe fully, to sit in quiet, to look at your own reflection without judgment, you reclaim a piece of the life anxiety has been trying to dictate. Pausing does not calm your mind immediately. The thoughts may still race, the heart may still pound, but it creates a crack in the armor, a moment of self-recognition. And in that crack, you can whisper to yourself, I see you, anxiety. I acknowledge your fear, but you do not control me. The courage to pause is the courage to be imperfect. It is the courage to let the world see that you are not always in motion, that you are not always in control, and that survival means sitting with discomfort rather than escaping it. It is in these moments of stillness, as terrifying as they may feel, that your nervous system slowly remembers what safety feels like. And here is the paradox: by stopping, by daring to pause, you gain more control than constant movement ever gave you. You gain clarity, you gain perspective, you gain presence. You are no longer running from fear. You are leaning into your humanity, one slow, courageous breath at a time. You have hidden behind competence for years. You have built walls so high, so polished, that vulnerability feels almost impossible, like stepping into a room with no floor beneath your feet. You know, intellectually, that vulnerability is supposed to be strength, that showing your true self can create connection, intimacy, and relief. But feeling it, practicing it, living it, that is terrifying. Every time you've considered letting someone in, the voice in your head whispers, if they see the cracks, they won't respect you. If they see the fear, they won't trust you. If they see the real you, they might leave. And so you keep performing. You curate your calm, your competence, your composure. You craft your responses with precision. You hide the trembling, the racing thoughts, the exhaustion. But here is the truth you rarely admit. The very act of hiding is exhausting. Every carefully rehearsed sentence, every calculated smile, every "I'm fine," you deliver chips away at your energy, leaving you drained, isolated, and craving authenticity that never arrives. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is a bridge, fragile, yes, but capable of carrying the weight of connection. Every time you share even a small truth about your inner struggle, every moment you let someone see your uncertainty or fatigue, you strengthen that bridge. You allow someone else to meet you where you are. You remind yourself and them that human imperfection is not something to fear. It is something to honor. You have felt the sting of shame whispering that your anxiety, your fear, your too muchness is unlovable. And yet, when you finally take the risk, when you speak the words you buried for so long, something remarkable happens. The world does not collapse. People lean closer. They do not recoil. They witness. They respond. They remind you that being human, fully seen, is enough. Vulnerability is not about collapsing under the weight of your anxiety. It is about standing in the storm and saying, I am here. I am enough. I am allowed to feel this and still belong. It is about dismantling the lie that you must perform perfection to be valued. It is about giving yourself permission to breathe, to falter, to admit that you cannot always fix everything, and still be worthy of love, respect, and trust. And this is the paradox. The more you allow yourself to be truly seen, the more your anxiety loses its power over you. When you stop hiding, the fear that has driven every overthinking, overachieving, over preparing moment begins to soften. Vulnerability becomes the antidote to exhaustion. It becomes a sanctuary. It becomes freedom. It is terrifying. It is messy. It is uncomfortable. But it is also the only path to reclaiming yourself, to moving from surviving under the weight of high functioning anxiety, to truly thriving, fully alive, and deeply connected. The war you've been fighting is not one anyone else can see. It is not in boardrooms, deadlines, or the constant obligations that define your day. It is inside your skull, behind your eyes, in the restless hum of your nervous system. It is the internal battlefield where thoughts, fears, and self-imposed expectations clash endlessly, leaving you exhausted even when the world calls you accomplished. Reclaiming your mind begins with a single radical act: awareness. The moment you notice the patterns, the endless what ifs, the rehearsed conversations, the late night spirals, that moment is revolutionary because for years these patterns have run unnoticed, unchecked, dictating your energy, your choices, and your sense of worth. Recognition is the first weapon you own. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are responding to decades of learned survival strategies. And now you have the chance to respond differently. You can step off the battlefield even for a few moments. You can notice your breath, your body, the racing of thoughts, and allow yourself to simply be. Not productive, not impressive, not perfect, just present. That presence is radical. It is a rebellion against the tyranny of constant preparation and performance. Boundaries become your allies. Saying no to the small, the urgent, the overwhelming is not selfish. It is reclamation. Each no is a brick laid in the foundation of your peace. Each boundary drawn is a declaration. I will not sacrifice my mind for the comfort or expectations of others. And self-compassion is your shield. The critic inside your head has been relentless for years, whispering that every mistake, every perceived imperfection, every moment of hesitation is proof you are not enough. But when you practice self-compassion, when you allow kindness toward yourself in the moments you are most vulnerable, the critic loses its authority. You remind yourself being human is not a liability. Being human is enough. Imagine a life where achievement no longer equals exhaustion. Imagine a life where competence does not disguise anxiety, where success is not a mask, but a reflection of your authentic self. Your mind, once a war zone, can become a sanctuary, a place where creativity thrives, clarity arises, and peace is possible. Reclaiming your mind is not a destination. It is a practice, a daily conversation with yourself, a commitment to noticing, breathing, pausing, and choosing differently. It is the understanding that your value does not lie in perfection, productivity, or control, but in the simple, profound fact that you are alive, present, and capable of feeling deeply without losing yourself. And here is the ultimate truth. The mind you have been at war with for so long can also become the mind that carries you home. It can become your ally instead of your captor. It can become the place where you finally stop surviving and start truly living.